Unaware his wife had won $500 million and was pregnant with twins, he divorced her to marry another woman. She signed the divorce papers without a word. While pregnant with twins her husband would never know existed. He left her for another woman, greedy, proud, and blind to the treasure he abandoned. But years later, when his empire collapsed, he found himself begging for help from a mysterious billionaire woman, not knowing she was the same wife he betrayed. Stay with me till the end, because this story proves that sometimes revenge doesn't come with anger. It comes with grace. The apartment was too quiet. The silence was heavy, thick with things unsaid. Grace Mitchell sat on the worn sofa, holding a mug of tea that had gone cold. Her life with Harry had been built on small, simple promises of a future better than their modest present. Harry, charming and ambitious, had always talked about climbing the corporate ladder. Lately, though, he wasn't climbing. He was pushing Grace away. The front door clicked open. Harry stood there, his expensive jacket perfectly tailored, his face handsome but devoid of warmth. He didn't ask about her day. He just dropped a thick manila envelope onto the coffee table. "I need you to sign these, Grace," he said, his voice shockingly casual. "Divorce papers." Grace's breath caught. She pushed the papers away, her hand shaking. "Harry, why?" "It's simple," he sighed, sounding annoyed. "I deserve more. I need a wife who matches my ambition, my prestige. Someone who can help me get to the top. Joan understands that. You'll be fine. You deserve someone who can give you more." His cruelty was clean and sharp. Grace looked at the papers, then at the man she loved, now a stranger blinded by greed. She didn't argue. There were no tears, only a profound, silent devastation. Grace signed the papers that afternoon. Harry was gone within the hour, taking the last pieces of her hope with him. Her heart felt like a hollow drum. The very next week, the doctor's news hit her like a second, deeper wave. Grace sat in the small room, staring at the ultrasound monitor. "Congratulations, Grace," the nurse smiled. "Everything looks healthy. And you've got 2 heartbeats. You're having twins." Grace didn't cry. She felt a fierce, immediate strength surge through her. Her father had once told her, "When everything is lost, you gain freedom." Harry had betrayed her and abandoned her, but he knew nothing of this. She decided right then, holding the image of her 2 unborn children, that this secret was their shield. Harry would never know. She would protect Liam and Lily alone. Days later, another unexpected letter arrived, this one from a high-end law firm. Grace went, expecting a minor inheritance from her late father. In the mahogany-paneled office, she met Mr. Arthur, a wise, distinguished man. He explained that her father, a brilliant but eccentric investor, had secured several quiet long-term investments and, years ago, had even won an unclaimed lottery prize. With interest, those assets had grown to an unimaginable sum. "Grace," Mr. Arthur said gently, sliding a portfolio across the desk. "Your father left you the sole heir to over $500 million. Grace felt the world spin. The paper blurred through her tears. This wasn't revenge. This was a second chance, a destiny. Mr. Arthur introduced his son, Daniel, a brilliant young finance mentor. "If you are going to use this, you must learn to command it," Daniel advised. Grace looked down at her swollen belly. "I will. And I need a new identity. I want to honor my mother. From now on, call me Grace Mitchell Hale." Grace Mitchell was gone. Grace Hale was born. She sold the small apartment and quietly settled her affairs. She left her old town without a backward glance, relocating to a busy coastal city where she was just a face in the crowd. Under Daniel's sharp guidance, Grace began a transformation. She learned the language of mergers, acquisitions, and investment strategy. She was a sponge, absorbing every lesson. The quiet, fragile woman Harry left behind was replaced by one with a cool confidence, a steady gaze, and a razor-sharp business mind. Her new life was complex, but her motivation was simple: her children. She was building a safe, strong world for them. 2 years vanished into success and sleepless nights. Grace gave birth to healthy Liam and Lily, perfect copies of her love. She was a dedicated mother first and a visionary entrepreneur second. She founded the Hale Foundation for Women and Children, her public philanthropic face, which kept her name respected and her identity private. Meanwhile, her holding company made silent, powerful moves in tech and real estate. She moved with quiet competence, always composed. The trauma of the past was fuel for her focus, not a source of bitterness. She was strong because she had to be. While Grace soared, Harry sank. His marriage to Joan Parker was loud and glittering, but hollow. They chased the most expensive clubs and the most glamorous parties, quickly draining what little money Harry had. Joan, selfish and demanding, pushed Harry constantly to take bigger risks. "You need more, Harry. This house is too small. Why don't you have a private jet yet?" She'd snap, her voice shrill. Harry was miserable. He missed the peace of his old life, the quiet kindness of Grace. He realized he hadn't married a ladder to success. He had married a bottomless pit of desire. Joan's greed finally broke them. She convinced Harry to invest his entire company's funds into a risky overseas project. The project was a scam. When the news broke, Harry's business collapsed in scandal. Creditors called constantly. Joan blamed him, screaming about his failure in front of their few remaining friends. "You promised me everything, Harry. Now we have nothing," she yelled one night, smashing a vase. Harry looked at the wreckage of his life. He was broke, disgraced, and utterly alone. His reputation was ruined. He needed a miracle, a large, powerful investor to save the sinking ship of his company, even if it meant losing control. Desperate, Harry worked the few contacts he had left. He kept hearing the same name: Grace Hale. She was a legend, the mysterious, elegant CEO who appeared out of nowhere, known for swooping in to save companies right before they failed, then making them hugely profitable. She was known to be private, demanding, and utterly fair. Harry managed to secure a meeting through a third party. He didn't know much about her, only that she was his last hope. The name Grace sounded familiar, but Hale was common. He never connected the two. He focused only on the dollar signs. The annual Commerce Gala was the perfect setting. Harry, feeling cheap in his slightly too old tuxedo, watched the ballroom door. Then she entered. Grace Hale. She was radiant, poised, draped in simple but flawless silk. Every head turned. She moved with a confidence that Harry had never possessed. He could feel the power radiating from her. She walked toward his table, guided by Daniel. Harry stood, weak in the knees. She stopped in front of him. Her eyes, calm and knowing, held his. "Mr. Harry," she greeted him, her voice low, controlled, and deeply familiar. Harry froze, the memory of that voice hitting him in the chest. He stammered, his mind racing. "Madam Hale, have we met before?" Grace smiled faintly, a ghost of the woman he once knew. Her eyes were hard. "Not in this lifetime, perhaps." The boardroom meeting was clinical. Harry tried to pitch his failing business with enthusiasm, but his desperation was clear. Grace Hale listened, her hands folded neatly on the table. She was untouchable. When he finished, She didn't waste time on pleasantries. "Mr. Harry," she said, her voice like ice. "Your business is insolvent. Your management has been reckless." She laid out her proposal. She would invest the immense capital needed to save the business and secure the jobs of his employees. But the terms were absolute. Harry must resign all titles immediately, sell his remaining shares for a token sum, and his name must be scrubbed from the company history. It was a merger that saved his neck but extinguished his ego. Harry knew he had lost. His second wife, Joan, had already left him when the debts became public. He had nowhere else to turn. I accept the terms, Madam Hale," he whispered, the defeat crushing him. Grace nodded once. "The papers will be drawn up by the end of the day. Good luck, Mr. Harry." The day after the deal was finalized, Harry received a thick, plain envelope delivered by a private courier. Inside was a single, folded document. It was a formal amendment to his original divorce decree. He unfolded it, confused. Attached to it was a detailed, certified DNA paternity test. He saw the names: Liam Mitchell Hale, Lily Mitchell Hale. The date of conception was marked 3 weeks before he filed the divorce papers. He looked at the document, then back at the name of the recipient. Grace Mitchell, now Grace Mitchell Hale. The elegant, sharp-witted CEO who had just taken his entire life's work was the fragile, quiet woman he had discarded for being unworthy. He fell into his chair, the full, cruel scope of his folly washing over him. He hadn't just lost a wife. He had lost a $500 million fortune and 2 children he never knew existed. He begged for a meeting. The meeting was held in Grace's private office at the Hale Foundation. When Harry walked in, he saw a photograph on her large desk. 2 small, laughing children with his eyes and Grace's kind smile. He couldn't speak. He just pointed at the picture, his voice shaking. They look like me." Grace Mitchell Hale looked at him, her heart calm. She felt no need for anger or victory. "They look like who they chose to become. Harry. That's something money can't buy." She didn't humiliate him. She simply stated the facts. Liam and Lily knew about their father, and when they were old enough to understand, they would meet him. But her life, her power, and her purpose were built without him. She was free. "Your mistake cost you dearly, Harry," she said softly. "But I forgive you. Forgiving you doesn't mean I take you back. It means you no longer have power over my peace." She had everything: peace, purpose, and her children. Grace standing on a beach, watching Liam and Lily chase the waves. The setting sun cast a golden glow over the 3 of them. She smiled, truly happy. The wind carried her whisper out to sea. "I didn't lose him. He lost me." Her victory was complete. She had chosen Grace, and in doing so, found her destiny. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Stay blessed.